welcome to another Learn Calligraphy in Quarantine tutorial video hosted by CC Artsy. I'm Big Sissy and I'll be joining you in learning how to use 4 basic writing materials you can find at home and learning calligraphy during this quarantine season. So for this video, we'll be using my basic strokes worksheets. They're free and we'll leave the link down below. We'll be using a fine tip brush pen as our writing material for today. So a fine tip brush pen compared to a normal brush pen has a smaller tip. So I like to recommend the brand Pentel Touch, or you can also use the Tombow Fudenosuke. I have a double tipped one, but you can use the soft or the hard brushes. They're fine. Miniso also has a range of fiber tip brush pens if you want to use those, and any brush pen that can vary the strokes like this when you press down can be used for this tutorial. So you can do warm-ups. I always like to say do warm-ups with thick and thin lines before you start any calligraphy so that your hand can get used to the thick and thin strokes and the moving of your hands. So we'll be doing my basic strokes worksheet together, and I'll also be doing it on a piece of paper for those who can't print out their worksheets. So let's start with the upstrokes and downstrokes. So for upstrokes, you start at the bottom and then slowly with a light touch you go up, and all you have to do is you can just trace my worksheets, and then this space here is for you to fill up with your own freehand lines. There you go. So in your notebook, just take one space and do light upstrokes. So try to make them as consistent as possible, because that's what you're focusing on. Not only are you focusing on keeping your lines light, but also keep your lines consistent throughout. So that's the upstroke. Downstrokes, on the other hand, they start at the top and then just put pressure going down. Again, this space is for you to fill up with your freehand downstrokes. Let's do some downstrokes on my piece of paper. So holding the pen like I would normally use any pen, I'm just putting thick downstrokes here. So do you see the difference with the thickness of this one and this one? So that's really what calligraphy is all about. Seeing a difference in the thin upstrokes and then the thick downstrokes. Let's go to our next basic stroke, which is called an underturn. Underturns start on the top as a thick downstroke, moving up into a thin upstroke. Let's try a few. There we go. So you see the difference. You're supposed to see a difference in the thickness. And here at the bottom, you notice that it's a U shape, a curve shape, because by this 3/4 down, you're supposed to start letting go of pressure so that you can prepare your transition for an upstroke. Let's try that here on my paper. So let's do a thick downstroke and then upstroke. Ta-da! That's your underturns. Overturns are the exact opposite of underturns. You start at the bottom and you move up with a thin upstroke and then down with a thick downstroke. Let's do that on our paper. Upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. So the same rule applies. Keep it curved and end your transition 3/4 of the way. So by this time, you can already start pushing down with more pressure. Our next basic stroke is a compound curve. A compound curve is a combination of an overturn and an underturn. So it's basically starting at the bottom, going up, going down, and going up again. So let's try that here. Upstroke, downstroke, and then upstroke again. Keep your widths consistent so you can practice the tracing part here, and at the bottom you can try your own freehand compound curves. Let's try it on my paper. A compound curve is just a combination of the two strokes that you learned here earlier. So keep the width straight and then keep your transitions equal. So let's do that one more time. There you go. Make sure that these three lines are all parallel with each other. Our next basic stroke is an oval. So ovals, I like to call them penguin eggs. So an oval starts here in the 3/4 mark as an upstroke. You go down and then you go up, connecting to that upstroke where you started. Let's try that one time. I get really frustrated with ovals sometimes because they don't connect with each other, but that's fine. You get better with practice, so keep practicing. Make sure you fill up all of these traces, tracing ovals, and then make sure you fill up all this space for your own freehand ovals. Let's make an oval here on my paper. You start here in the 3/4 mark as an upstroke, go down thick and then thin, connect to your upstroke earlier. Let's do that one more time. And one of the key elements when you're learning calligraphy, even if we're just doing the basic strokes, is to go slowly so that you don't have to rush and make, because the more you rush, the more mistakes you can make in your basic strokes. And we're still practicing, so it's perfectly fine to go slow, because even the professional ones, they actually tell us all to go slowly when you're doing calligraphy. This is not a rush sport. So our last basic strokes are ascending and descending loops. So your ascending loop starts here in the X height, going up and then going down into a downstroke. Let's try to do the descending loops. Descending loops are downstrokes and then ending up with an upstroke going until the baseline. Let's try that here in my notebook. I'll be using 2 lines as guides. There we go. And let's do an ascending loop. Ascending loops start here, going down, and then descending loops go down and then move up. So those are our ascending and descending loops. Let's try to fill up this space with all the loops that we learned today. So we learned an upstroke, a downstroke, an underturn, an overturn. What's next? We learned a compound curve, and lastly we did ovals. There we go. Those are all our basic strokes. Please practice.